Good morning. This is Miss Anita, and we are going to be talking about social and emotional skills today. And to better understand challenging behaviors, it helps if we think about the social and emotional skills that help children to be successful as they grow and they develop. So we are going to talk about a list of important social and emotional skills. And why do you think it's important to teach children, students, social and emotional skills? So there are some of the skills that we know that children need to be successful to prevent challenging behaviors. We tend to spend a lot of time thinking and planning for helping children learn academic skills like ABCs or counting, or skills like catching a ball, riding a bike. And we also need to be intentional too about teaching them social and emotional skills as well. So what happens when a child does not have these skills? What happens when a child becomes upset? What happens? So we are going to slow down for a minute and reflect on some basic assumptions on challenging behaviors. Challenging behaviors often occur when a child doesn't have the appropriate language or social skills to achieve the same purpose. Some children may not have learned those skills or might have a disability that might make learning them difficult, and some children may have learned them but not quite sure how to use them yet. So there are different variables that might contribute to a child's challenging behavior, such as lack of sleep, being hungry, medical factors, or just different things happening at home or different things that have happened at school. When children use challenging behaviors over time, those behaviors begin working for them. So for example, if a child cries because they want to get out of dinner rather than asking to be finished, then that behavior works for them to get out of the meal. Then the child will probably continue that same behavior and cry at dinner because that has worked for them in the past. So, and then our next section, we will be visiting the idea of challenging behaviors has a purpose. So every behavior, there is a reason behind it. And we will discuss ways to prevent challenging behaviors and how we can respond to them better. And how we will teach the children important social and emotional skills. But right now, one of the first things we can do is to determine how to address challenging behaviors, is to understand the question, why do children do what they do? And that's probably a question that we've asked many times, or you've asked many times. So next is, why do children do what they do? Behavior is a meaningful way of communicating a message. Some children do not have the appropriate way to communicate, as in talking, singing, or using visuals. So they use a challenging behavior, for example, hitting, spitting, screaming, to communicate their needs and wants. So a child who has limited social skills or who has learned over time that a challenging behavior will meet their needs, they might engage in that challenging behavior instead of using the language that they have. I'm not saying that a child is choosing to use a challenging behavior to communicate, but when the challenging behavior does occur, it is sending a message. So behaviors can mean many things. Here's a list of some of the things your child's challenging behavior might be saying. Remember, we may not like the message, but we can identify and possibly understand it. For example, if your child is having a tantrum or throwing a fit at the store because they want a toy and we've said no, we do know that we can recognize that the behavior is saying, I want the toy, if they're crying out and throwing that fit. So by them saying, I want a toy, is them having their behavior. So simply put, how challenging behavior works, children engage in challenging behavior because it works for them. It works for them by sending a message, which results in the child obtaining or getting something or somebody they want. Like for example, attention, a food, toy, avoiding, escaping something that they do not want or something that they do not want to do. So we are going to go more in depth about the meaning of behavior in our next session, where we will practice being a behavior detective. I'm sorry, you guys. Today we will start by learning some of the clues to look for. Right now, I'll start with the information that all behavior is meaningful and it can be viewed as sending a message. So for an example, Kenny, the child who you saw in the role play, let's think about what behavior he was trying to communicate. You can look at the first slides for some ideas. Behaviors send a message that the child was either trying to obtain, so he was trying to get something or somebody, like attention or food. He was trying to avoid, so he was trying to escape somebody or something, an adult, an activity, maybe a peer. What was the first behavior Kenny's mother might have found challenging? What was the first thing that happened? I mean, what was the behavior? And second, what is another challenging behavior we saw Kenny engage in? Did he kick and throw the toys? What do you think his behavior was trying to communicate? Next, we are going to talk about apply it and try it. So for the next week, let's think about some behaviors that you would like to see less of and some behaviors you would like to see more of, and ways that you can encourage your child to use those. So some things that we want to see less of is maybe screaming out, maybe hitting a sibling, maybe stomping off. Some things you want to see more of: listening, sharing, playing with a sibling. Just some ideas of things that we can think more of and less of. And by thinking about behaviors that you want to see more of and less of, you'll be ready to dive into our worksheet of more of, less of, and then ways that we can encourage it. Thank you, and we will talk soon.